Hayden Caldwell.
Michael
Welcome,
Toole.
welcome back. We are back. We're so back. We're fine. We're great. Um, so let's just open up with the elephant in the room. There is no elephant. It's just me and you. There's no one else.
We
Um,
kicked it. We kicked them off. They're gone. Bye bye.
yeah,
You're now left with the worst two members of the Salt Line crew. The two people that people
no,
are like, ah, crap. Why are they on?
no, no,
Why
no,
are
no,
they
no, 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 no,
talking
no.
again?
From public review, from a few individuals, they've said out of all the common themes, Juan is listed as the worst. Wait, hold on. There might be, you know what? It's fine. We love Juan. Juan's all that matters at the end. All right. We have
People
done.
watch the show for Juan.
Yeah, because they're just like he doesn't talk. He doesn't annoy the shit out of us like all the other three do. Who knows? Somewhere out there, maybe in like I don't know, Wisconsin. No, what's like Wyoming? There's a fan in Wyoming that has Juan up here, and everyone else down here is gone.
I bet Juan has some really nuanced takes about Wyoming volleyball. We gotta get him. We gotta get him on the show. Ask him. Just ask him what his thoughts on Wyoming's season was.
He's gonna be like, "That's dumb." All right. Anyway,
Then he's gonna ask us which Dorito we like better.
dude, we got controversy for that in the sense of people were like, "I thought this was a volleyball podcast. Why is there a clip about fucking Doritos?" And I'm
Wait,
like,
people got mad at us about the Doritos. There were people that I talked to that were like, that was the only segment of the whole thing that I liked. But I also think that nobody wants to hear about us playing volleyball. Like, I think that's the biggest lesson that you learn from all of this is that, like, no offense, nobody really cares, who wins the Force A quads co-ed on a given Saturday. And maybe there are some people that do, but they get their 5 minutes of fame when they post it on their Instagram story. And then outside of that, like, I found it's not an effective tactic for gathering people's attention. A lot of people around the world don't necessarily think that 80,000th Neo Sports Plant hoodie that you have looks really nice and just makes you stick out and then be like, wow, now that's an open level player.
dude, as soon as you ended, I started chewing. Fuck. Anyway, I don't know if we like when we uploaded the last one, like timeline of events. That Instagram post that we have of Xander doing a PME like style reaction, I get notifications every day for like more people are liking and commenting our post. I'm gonna do a live stat check real quick. I'm gonna look to
I,
see.
I think
We
my favorite comment on that post still is I think you guys remember this because I feel like we talked about it in our group chat, but the actual team that like made the play themselves. I forget
Uh,
what the actual school is. Apologies, but it is a Canadian men's collegiate team. Commented on the post and said, "Wow, no credit for the team that made this amazing play. I can't believe these people are stealing our content."
I,
And I was like, wow, that must be how everyone feels every time PME posts anything on Instagram.
I literally can. So insights. We are 300. We are 399,308 views. We have almost cracked 400k views on that thing alone. Then hit 26k likes, 100 or 1007k reshares, 69 reposts, funny, 448 saved, 31 comments. The top comment having 504 likes saying, "You're not
You're
PME."
not PME?
And shout out the second most liked comment is Juan saying, "True, this is much more educational, informative." I can't. I
I
can't.
still, I still love the team, dude. Apologies to that team for not understanding the parody nature of our content.
They
We here
literally.
at Saltline never condone not crediting the creators. in this community, it's very important that we all give each other our due diligence as we all try to make it in the
It's
world.
it's just
But
so great because you have half the comments are saying you're not PN me, and then you have people like DC Trays from 2 days ago saying why middles shouldn't set. It's
oh,
like
that's the other one. Is then they'll comment on the actual play, like
as if that's
as if
us.
we're the first people to post this particular play.
It makes no
No one
sense.
no one else has posted this before. There are definitely not 8 billion like volleyball, volleyball underscore lover underscore 67 is like reposting this reel and getting 8 billion likes for just stealing someone's content. And then of course you get the PMEs of the world who just kind of add in a nice little right
Dude,
at the end.
I hated when that video was made in the sense of you guys put it in the group chat, and I'm like, post this, like it's stupid. Like no one's gonna get it with and or like get with it, whatever. And then we have this much attention. Our video, might I add you, we had Gage Worsley, a professional volleyball player, well known, pretty like honestly pretty well known for obviously the out of system and everything. Literally commented on our reel about him, and we've got like maybe 400 views. Like it's like it's whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. I hate how
I mean, I
Instagram's
think I think that's where we're approaching with the virality of content. With we're quickly getting to dead internet theory. We're getting to that VeggieTales clip where like humor is randomly generated. I mean, I feel like you open up your feed nowadays and just like the content of mine that like isn't volleyball related. I'm just absolutely appalled by just how much like where this stuff comes from. I couldn't even tell you. Like the amount of people that have gotten famous over the course of this year for things that they first of all didn't even do this year, but also like just totally forgot about. It's it's so crazy.
hmm
It's just, I mean, I continually look and there's a new thing. Like right now, are you getting like the gloving and sliding memes? That's like what's all over my feed right now. And
my
now there's
friend.
the guy who's like the whatever Glover right now, and he's like trying to deglove all the imposters because he's so angry that like people are doing it and they're not as experienced as him. It's
I
this whole thing. I don't
I
even know.
really didn't know about it until my friend posted in our one group chat earlier, and it was Epstein is a Glover. I don't listen. We can't get political, anything like that. But I just couldn't do it. I I was in the middle of getting a fucking tattoo, and I see that, and I'm like, what? I'm so thankful my artist did not notice, but I was like, whatever. It was so stupid. Anyway, because we've carried on 8 minutes about Instagram algorithm.
Yeah,
Um,
good. It deserves all the attention. You've probably
it's,
carried on for much longer than that because of the Instagram algorithm on Instagram.
fuck, you're so right. Anyway, so last episode, I think like 2, 3 months ago, maybe,
I think it was a
where
preview of the women's college season. No.
it was because it was like I think it was we had our guest Bianca, and that was like right
Oh, that's
after
right. It
their
was the one I
first
wasn't
weekend.
on.
Yeah, it
Yes,
was like their
you're
first
correct.
weekend. Um, so we could talk about where we all have been. Um, and I mean, I'll make mine short. Super busy with my college semester, trying to graduate, pass classes. Was busy with the practice player stuff. Busy running our own men's club, doing tournaments here and there, working at the hospital. Like, so that's where I've been. Nothing new.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much just this was my last semester of grad school, so I finished grad school, graduated with my master's, just got home about last week, and that was really was busy for me. Obviously, I was still doing other stuff. I was still helping out, coaching with our women's team. Was still, trying to be active in playing and doing some other stuff as much as I could. But really, especially from about October on, my research just kind of ate up all my time. I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't have much else to do other than kind of being in the lab, writing my paper. I mean, I did a 60-page report I had to write. Like there was a lot, and now it's kind of, I'm back at a point where I feel like I have a little bit more time, which is very nice. I can like breathe a little bit again.
Which is literally why we're doing this. Because we have time. Obviously, Xander and Juan are not here. Xander is busy with his work stuff, so he couldn't make it. And then Juan's response was just, I out. So I don't know what Juan's doing. But Xander, I can speak for him. He officially also moved to Fort Wayne in Indianapolis, I think, right?
Those are two different cities. Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fuck, that's what it was. I knew it was something. Anyway, I'm garbage at geography, as we could tell. He moved out there and started growing his business that he became a part of with iCryo. So, yeah, he's just constantly always doing that. He's actually driven to do 2 tournaments with us. He played in our Top Gun tune-up and then a co-ed quads. Or, no, men's quads that we did, both at 4s. Got second in both because we suck. We were also playing an A. And, like, I would say the first game, I didn't do like bad. He didn't do bad either. It was just like we were playing. Oh, who were we playing? I don't even remember. But they were just a good team. And then Top Gun, I sold the bed. I sold. That was the worst libero performance I've ever had in my life. It was like freshman year Michael passing a ball, and it was horrible. And then Juan moved back to the Y town. Fly with the Y.
He's flying with the Y again.
Yeah, except he plays every 2 months. He literally went to the open gym that we have on Thursdays here and was like, all right, guys, I'll see you guys in 2 months. And I said, yeah, probably. He has been, I know he's been like, I don't necessarily know what he does for his new job.
He's a bank teller, I believe.
That's what it is.
He works at Huntington Bank.
Ew, that's my bank. Dude, I can get the insight. We can
maybe you should tell him to give you more money or something. I don't know, man.
Might low-key
Why don't they
rob
just
Huntington
print more of it? I've always wondered that.
Dude, they stopped production of the penny. Did you hear that? Like a few weeks ago?
I did.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it was a good economic decision. It cost more to make than it was actually worth. And so, you know what? I respect our treasury for making the decisions for the people.
True.
But rip a real one at the end of the day.
Yeah, that Penny hated him. Day one hater.
Really?
I was more of a quarter fan. Like we all had to like the quarter more, let's be honest.
I mean it's worth a lot more money.
Next Instagram clip right here. What team coin were you on? The penny, the dime, the nickel, the quarter.
25 times as much. Nowadays I'm on team. They all got bacteria on them. I ain't picking them up.
Yeah, I have team when they handed it, like if I have, there's a rare chance I carry cash because I just don't ever. But like if I do and they give me change, I look at them and I say keep the coins, and then I walk out. All the time.
I carry cash. I do not carry coins. If you pay in ones, I might look at you with a little bit of despair on my face. You pay in coins, I'll just throw them right back at you.
I mean, honestly, valid crash out. So yeah, that's where we've been. I'm gonna get back on this, I guess, even though we need to, get Xander and Juan to be more active. But you know what? It's fine. We're gonna lock in.
I don't know. I mean, I think that was something, and maybe I shouldn't be airing this out on air, but like, I honestly think that with 4 people, like it's hard sometimes to get everybody all in one place to do stuff, especially when at the end of the day, like, we have other stuff on the side. We're all going to have full-time jobs. We're all going to have class. We're all going to have,
Dude,
all this other stuff that's going on.
You're saying volleyball is not our full-time job?
I am. I know. I know. Believe me, that's a harsh reality that I've had to find out over the last couple of months, and it really hasn't been something that's been fun for me. I really
I
went
know, Nicole.
from like kind of being a narp who like didn't want to be a narp to like really being a narp, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, like I actually have to get a job. I actually have to do all this other stuff, and it's yeah, it's unfortunate. Life lessons for you. But
True.
um, but yeah, no, I think that even if you have just two or three people, I mean, if there's a night that I can't do, I'm never going to be mad if people film. If there's a night that other people can't do, I mean, I think that that we're all going to have different schedules, we're all going to have different timetables, and at the end of the day, like we all are capable of making content that people want to listen to, and so I mean, as much as I'd love to see Juan and Xander get more involved, like I don't think it always has to be all four of us.
Yeah, true. Sorry. I had to edit my title. I don't know if it carries over into the film. But
Nebraska fan?
listen, all right, we'll go into that later. That is on schedule for to be talked about later. But
Yeah, but it says Nebraska. You didn't even spell it right.
it's staying. I don't care. I really don't care. Um, you know, you were the only person to call me out on my one story about snow and how I didn't say snow. It was so,
You said like if you like
dude.
so, you were the worst person. I read that. I was like, what does this mean?
I meant snow, and I thought okay. Well, I was typing and driving, not a good idea, but
Don't do that, kids.
no, especially when there was a snowstorm and your car is like the worst car in the world to drive in the snow, and you slid off the highway twice. I I didn't slide off the highway, but when I got to like Austintown, they didn't plow their roads yet, so literally any left or right turn, I went like 3 lanes over. It was horrible, but yeah, we know I don't spell. Fuck. Anyway, um, so talking about your case team, if you want to, like talk about how the year went, how the year ended,
Oh,
because
yeah. I mean, like, it was a fantastic experience. Like I'm still just super grateful that I got to coach for that team. That's not an opportunity that everybody necessarily gets when they're in college. But I was super grateful to the staff that I had that opportunity and to, the fact that it represented some sense of continuity. Like this semester for me was a very hard one for a lot of reasons because I was just dealing with a lot of uncertainty about where I was going to live, about where I was going to work, about, my research. And I had a lot of work to do to get a good, complete, finished product with my papers and stuff because I did a very condensed master's degree. Like most people when they're in grad school, it takes them a full 2 years. And I pretty much did all of it, all of the research stuff in about 8 months. So,
Mhm.
to have that team be that sense of continuity where I had those 2 hours a day where I was like, okay, like I get to go to the gym. I get to be myself. I get to, we get to work towards a common goal. Like, to see how much those girls really cared about each other and about getting better and about the improvement. That was all really nice to see. That team, we started the season really, really rough. Um, I think they lost like their first 7 games or something like that,
Mhm.
and really turned it around and found our groove towards the end of the season. So we finished the regular season. I think we ended up like it was like 15-12 or something like that. So I mean, we won a huge majority of our last, however many games. We upset multiple different teams that were in the top 25. We beat John Carroll on the road. That was a team that I know was really close to making the tournament. We beat Wash U, who advanced a couple rounds in the tournament. We beat NYU, who was a tournament team. Like our conference is always really, really tough, and to get through that the way that we did, and then turn around and, fortunately I was able to go to the conference tournament with the team where I really do feel like we played our best ball of the season.
Mhm.
In our first game of the tournament, we took Carnegie Mellon, who ended up winning the whole thing and hosting the tournament. They had a phenomenal tournament run. They were, I believe, a fifth set loss against Eau Claire from making the Final Four, which is
Mm-hmm.
a huge deal. I mean, by far the best season in program history. Congrats to them and their coaching staff. I mean, that's awesome. First time they've ever won the conference. They got to host the women's tournament. Um, Super great season for them. But we had a 2-1 lead on them at one point, and then dropped the fourth, dropped the fifth. And honestly, if we would have won that set, or if we would have won that match, I firmly believe that was the best team that we would have played all tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks that we were at a point where we had to play our best competition the first game. And that ultimately put us out of the conference tournament and therefore put us out of the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that we still kind of banded together and played two really good games the rest of the weekend, and beat Emory for the first time in like 35 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're an absolute juggernaut. They almost always win our conference. Really good school, both athletics and academics wise. Always recruited a super high level, usually have teams that could honestly compete at the D1 level. So to just see the overall growth and development that the team made over the course of the season, like, did we accomplish every single goal we set for ourselves at the beginning? No, probably not. But there were so many people that grew into so many different positions, and to see the interpersonal side of things and how much that team started to bond together and really fight for each other over the course of the season was all just something that was really, really, really nice to watch.
Yeah.
So definitely a great experience with that team. And, I'm hoping that wherever I end up for work, I will be able to kind of serve in a similar role. Because that was something that I would absolutely do again if given the opportunity in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Which there are, like, you have Dom, for example, who's an assistant coach at a D2 school, and I don't. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what
I mean,
college
it'd
it
be in West
was.
Virginia, right?
Yeah, I think it's Fairmount. It might be Fairmount. I don't
Okay.
remember. But yeah, so like, and he's an engineer, so like, depending on like how you do it, I'm very confident you could do like an
Mhm.
assistant role. I would love to, and like, I wouldn't want to be a head coach because that's a full-time responsibility, and obviously that's not where I built my career
Right. Hmm.
around. Would love to be an assistant depending on like obviously the responsibilities, but it also varies. Like an assistant at D3 is probably not an assistant and like workload as D1, for example. So it
Right.
really just
Right.
depends. But yeah, so YSU had also a very historic run with them. And I'll like talk about that. Similar story in the sense of like it was really cool experiencing being a practice player, and I was there the full time. So like compared to last year, I mean, me, Xander, Connor were there in the spring, so we had the full spring semester practices. But even so, we joined late into the fall season, so like they were already halfway done through their season when we came in. So that was like, you know, didn't get to be there the full time. But obviously was there from the beginning, from day one. Phenomenal. It was fun. Every practice was fun. It was fun being in that sort of environment. I went and did the video challenges, which I'm pretty sure I talked about in the last podcast, but I did all of them for their home games and it was really fun. I actually had some really weird experiences with refs in the sense of like I had one dude who literally I thought could not be a ref because he did not know how to do any of what I was doing. And I was like, that's fine because obviously each like the video replay like broadcast system whatever that we were using is new, but like this one dude, I think it was like one of their last home games. We had like 7 challenges or 6. Every single one, I had to do it and I had to point out the fault. best work I've ever done in my life. Not gonna lie, patted myself a little bit on the shoulder because of how good I did. And he also did. He literally after the game, I ran into him when I was walking my car, and he was like, "Dude, you killed it out there." I was like, "Thanks, man." Unfortunately, that ref was not there or the next day because this was one of their back-to-back games, and the ref, oh my, I know him because he used to ref our league, or he refs in the ECVA, which is our club league, and I don't like him, and I don't think he recognized me because me and Sammy and yeah, I think me and Sammy have said stuff to him in the past, and like, not the best look. I'm a mouthy player, I can't lie, but regardless of the fact, got to do all that. Very fun, exciting. From a team standpoint, they broke the no, wait. Okay, they broke a lot of records. They had first off a lot of individual records. I think Cam Arsetter broke the individual assist record. Abby got 2-time Horizon League Player of the Week. Same with Gabby got it once. And I believe Cam also got it once. Then we had in program history, Abby won ACV or wait, AVCA or ACVA? Why am I thinking?
AVCA.
Yes, that
American
one.
Volleyball Coaches
I don't know why I
Association.
thought it
Yeah.
was American College Volleyball Association. Could go both ways, whatever.
Probably because of ECVA, the
Yeah,
conference.
that's probably why I think that. She won D1 Player of the Year. Or Player of the Player of the Week. Player of the Week. Player of the Week. Which no YSU player has ever done before. And she also won Horizon League Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year. So we had a lot of individual awards and records that were broken. And then as a team, they won. I want to say this was the most they've won in a season, but I'm not too sure. That might be a lie. This was the highest they've ever placed in the Horizon League normal standings. They hit the third seed. Never, I don't even think, I think they've never even made it or something like that. Or like they might have only made it to the sixth seed before. So yeah, that was really cool to, see them do that on top of they won and made it to the semi. They beat Green Bay first round and then lost to Wright State. And the Wright State went to win the whole thing. We beat NKU, which we were their only loss in regular season. And then also, we haven't beat NKU, I think, since we became a program, if I'm correct. That was something that was talked about. I wasn't there for that game, unfortunately, because I was playing a tournament in Cleveland. But it was cool to see and see how they did that. I remember me and Sammy were watching the stats live because they didn't have the game streamed on ESPN. So we were watching the stats live, and it was really funny to hear our reactions. Trying to think what else. But yeah, overall, great time, great experience. Thankful for the coaches for allowing me to do that. I gave a speech at the last practice. Almost cried. Close. Almost cried. Because it did hit me that I was like, wow, I can't do that anymore. In the sense of it was almost not taken for granted, but I was I didn't really realize that I actually had semi of an impact on some of the players that I became friends with, and obviously helped them out, and didn't really realize how much I was doing until I was really directly told that by some of the people there, and they were like, you actually have impact, and I was like, damn, I'm gonna miss this then, and I did. I do. It's gonna suck, but
Yeah.
Regardless, grateful. Gonna be really exciting to see how they do more in the future and where they're gonna go and such. Sorry, Sammy texted me. But yeah.
When is he getting on the podcast? That's the real question.
So I was gonna make a comment about this later. I think we get him next, after the championship games happen, because there's a lot of opinions I think he has that I've heard.
Oh no, you gotta give me a sneak peek preview. I guess because his opinions are strong. I mean, he is like, it's funny because Xander's old nickname. I'm not gonna say what we changed it to in the group chat, but before he was in his current joke where we continue to dog on him.
Mhm.
He was the comment section warrior. And
Yeah.
I think that after looking at it, I think that that title should really belong more to Sammy than it does to Xander. Because like Xander like will say things in the comment section, and he's funny. He cracks me up because like what was the post that originally made that his nickname? He was like it was like one of those things where it was this girl who was saying something about like um it was something about like roles in a marriage, right? Or
Mhm.
whatever. No. It was a relationship. And she was like, yeah, I don't want guys who drink. I don't want guys who smoke. Like, I don't want guys who do this and this and this. And she was catching a lot of flack for it in the comment section. And Xander, like, totally stood up to all these people and was like, no, she has a right to have these opinions. She knows that she knows what she wants in a man, and I really respect that. And I was like, Xander, the whole world doesn't need to know what you think about this.
Dude, Xander's digital footprint is the worst thing in the world.
It's pretty rough. He's got
Uh,
to be more strategic about it. You've got to start like you need to understand that you're sending a message with every post you like and everything you comment on. Like people will see it. There are people who will just scroll through and see like, oh, what did my friends like today?
yeah.
And,
I do that.
and without fail, you
I
can
literally do that.
find without fail, you can find something if you leave behind too much of a footprint. But dude, Sandy was going at it for some of these games. Like I remember after the Stanford Wisconsin game, he made this post absolutely dogging on Stanford center, being like, I knew she was overrated
Oh,
all season. I
oh,
knew it, and I've been saying this, and nobody's listened to me. But she is so overrated. Like 7 people replied to him, and they were like, "No, bro, it was one game."
yeah. Sorry. Aiden Ames is now in the portal. Sorry, they're like this group chat with me, him, and Jared, and this other guy are blowing up.
Okay.
Oh, did you see? Oh yeah, I sent it in our group chat. Stucky going to
Yeah,
Pitt or Penn.
Penn State. Penn
Yeah,
State.
that's crazy.
Hmm. I know.
The Marin duo, her Marin duo
Yeah,
are back, which
yeah.
they might win
Or
games. Um,
I mean,
Speaking of winning games, oh man, it still hurts me. I was in this exact chair at about, no, it was like 3 hours earlier, but
yeah, it
like
was it was
26
way
hours
earlier in the
ago.
day.
Okay, we can so looking back at my final four predictions, I'm wrong on three of them. Pitt was the only one I had correct.
Hmm.
I thought Penn State was going to be there. Okay, hold on. I'll say this first. I said YSU. They didn't make it, but it's okay because we still love YSU. We had, I had Penn State, and Penn State build up year. However, they had some drama, obviously, with Izzy and their setter, which, whatever. But they did not have a season that they were going to be happy about, which I mean, it's gonna happen, but being national championships winners to that was rough, and it was weird to see and watch. I did not see it coming at all. And then clearly we had Nebraska. It still pains me to this hour, man. It's rough. It was bad to watch. It wasn't okay. So you wanted a sneak peek of one of Sammy's thoughts. he thought that that was one of the best games of volleyball all year. And like, even though we lost, he can't be fully upset because we didn't get swept. My opinion, I was upset the whole time. I was very upset. Cause like going over that game, I guess we can just recap that game because that clearly was the biggest game of the year, in my opinion, in the sense of like nobody didn't have everybody had Nebraska going to the Final Four. Maybe not everybody, but like I would say a majority of volleyball fans had Nebraska going to the Final Four and either being upset by in the semi or the final. That's what a lot of people said. A lot of people said Nebraska is going to play their toughest game in the Final Four or the final. And that is what was said. Being honest, Texas A&M I think will win the whole thing or UK. So that's my thoughts before getting into Nebraska breakdown game. If you have anything,
Yeah. Well, you talked about Final Four. I can't remember my picks exactly. I know I picked both U of L and UK to go. Obviously, UK was a good pick. That one worked out, and that one was right. I think my other two were Nebraska and Pitt, right?
I think we all had Nebraska going.
I mean, I can't imagine I didn't have Nebraska going, but I'm trying to remember whether that other team was Pitt or Penn State. Because didn't they play early on in the season and Pitt beat them?
Who?
I think Pitt and Penn State, and I think Pitt won that game
Oh yeah.
pretty convincingly. So I think I was 2 for 4. I think I had Pitt, Nebraska, UK, and Louisville, which honestly, I mean, all things considered, getting 3 of the 4 1 seeds right was pretty good too. I guess I didn't, I don't know whether or not, I obviously getting to the Final Four is different than being a 1 seed, but again, nobody could have seen what happened with Penn State, and a lot of that has to do with the Izzy Stark situation. Obviously, that's something that nobody really saw coming into the season, and I do hope that she has a good rest of her career and was able to find like whatever she needed out of the break that she had. Like it was clear even in the games that she did play that something wasn't right. But obviously that was something that nobody really saw coming.
No.
I don't know if I had anything else. I mean, I think we can kind of dive into even just a tournament recap so far. Like I know, obviously we're coming off the heels of the Elite Eight and the Final Four where you had so much happening, but really we haven't even had a chance to talk about the whole tournament, which is huge in and of itself.
Yeah. So really didn't see too many first and second round upsets. In my opinion, like everyone was like Penn State lost. Penn State was going to lose early when they played one of the higher seeds, and that's what happened. They played Texas and they got handled. But
Right.
again, whatever. And then I think the first really big upset before the big ones were Cal Poly making their run to the Sweet 16. I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah, because
I
they
don't
beat
wait.
USC, and then who was the 5 seed they beat before USC?
Um, shoot, it was I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, they're against USC. That was definitely a big upset in like that side, like early on. And then I've seen a lot of comments, and I kind of agree. A lot of the 3 seeds could have been the 2 seeds, and honestly, they should have been. Like Wisconsin was a 3 seed, Texas A&M was a 3 seed, and then who else was a 3 seed that's through that
Purdue
made it through?
beat
Purdue,
SMU
yeah,
as a
Purdue,
3 seed.
which was
Creighton
crazy.
beat
Inc-
Creighton beat Arizona State as a 3.
Yeah, that's what it was. I knew Creighton. Creighton, I knew was gonna win. Purdue shocked me. I thought SMU was gonna be like that sleeper horse they had been last year and the year before.
Hmm.
But obviously they didn't. Purdue won. Um, and then getting to that Elite Eight, Texas and Wisconsin. I thought Texas was gonna win. But it made sense that they weren't going to once Wisconsin had Fullbringer back, and she ate. She did really well. Then Pitt playing. My mind's blanking.
They played Minnesota in the Sweet 16, and then they played Purdue in the Elite Eight.
Yeah. Pitt beating Purdue. We knew it was gonna happen. Babcock is being Babcock, and she did well. Then you had Kentucky winning over Cal Poly.
They beat Cal Poly, and then they beat Creighton. Yep. Yeah,
Cal,
and
yeah,
and I actually got to go to both of those games, which were both fun ones to watch.
really?
Yeah, I was at the whole Lexington Regional this week. So I saw the Creighton ASU game. That was before the UK Cal Poly game, and then I saw both UK games. And honestly, I mean, with UK, really what it is kind of the same thing I feel like it's been all season. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm from Lexington. Like, I'm always going to root for that team. I've grown up on UK sports, but where I think they like were. I mean, I do think that coming into the tournament, like, there's this whole thing about media narrative, and it's funny because I give Sammy a hard time about it. And I think some of our players certainly talk with that chip on their shoulder when they interview. My mom was telling me about an interview that she saw with Molly Tuzzo, where she kind of was like, they keep overlooking us. They keep overlooking us. We've got to win until we're not overlooked anymore. And eventually we'll get to a point where people will have to recognize us because the results are undeniable. And I do think that there is a little bit of a disparity in coverage for Kentucky when you compare UK to the other 3 1 seeds. Because Nebraska and Texas are the two biggest brands in women's volleyball, I would say. I mean, I think you look at performance, you look at attendance, you look at the reputation overall of the program. I think that those two programs year in and year out are the two that end up drawing the most fans and the most clicks and the most, media watch. And honestly, like on the Pitt side, I mean, Pittsburgh is a huge volleyball city. You and I have both experienced that personally through
Going
indoor
to Pitt.
events out there. Shout out to my friends Ned and Bobby at the Pittsburgh Grass Volleyball.
Yeah.
PGO has been a great tournament that I've played in the past couple of years, and always brings out a very quality level of competition.
Shout out the Pitt club team for losing to me every game I've played against them so far.
They all hate me out there, dude.
There's some
they hate me
outside.
so much. No, you can't get into this. You can't get into this.
They're outside. I can't stand him. We literally got into a bickering competition at the ECVA, and then me, who's 5'7", stuffed this 6'2" outside, and I barely get my hands over the net, and I literally slammed the floor out of excitement, which I've learned I celebrate like how the girl players do, because there is like there's a lot of people that show me like clips of me when I was first playing, and I would like slam my hands on the floor and like do spins, and I'm like, yeah, maybe not the best look, because it is kind of weird in the men's. Like a lot of people are like, what the fuck's this kid doing? But yeah, shout out Pitt. We beat them at Case when we played with Gannon, and then I've beat them in 2 other tournaments, and then beat them in the ECBA. So they ain't got shit on me. That's all I'm saying. Anyway,
Pit men's volleyball. I'm so sorry for that single tournament. I know you all were such like close friends with everyone on the Case team, and like you all
me,
it was gonna be a nice cute little final. Our whole women's team came in to watch. Like, everybody was hyping up, oh, it's Case Pitt, the rematch showdown, and like
then,
I definitely am not particularly proud of the way that I conducted myself that game.
oh,
Sometimes
I
the
am.
competitive intensity really gets us in the moment. But you know what? Like, you guys are a fun squad to play against at least, and I had a fantastic time that game.
I did too
Um,
because we beat them. That's why I did. Dude, okay, I think they just like here's what I liked because I went back. Their team uploaded the film, so we got to see
yes.
them or see
Yep.
us play them.
Hmm.
But the thing that's different is we see their side. We don't see our side.
Yeah.
So after every play, and I got to see some of the reactions and their like bitter comments about like what was going on throughout the game, it made everything so much better. Like I setter dumped. It was obviously one of probably my cleanest setter dumps. Like doing the like two hand pushover instead of like dumping it with one hand or like throwing it.
Hmm.
And I remember it was a shanked pass to the right or to the outside, and I ran across the front and then just like turned my body and threw it over. And it was so funny because all three of the back players had their knees on the floor looking to die, but none of them made a move. And I was like, that's funny. And then their setter or their libero made a comment about how like it was a double or something, even though it wasn't because I like hit part of the tape as it went over, so that's why it rolled straight down.
Hmm.
And he made a comment about it to the one dude because you could hear it, and he gestured it as well. And I'm just like, that's so stupid. Just be bad, be pissed. I don't give a fuck. And
I still feel so bad for Zach Baldridge on the stand that game, dude. He like that was one of the very few club tournaments that guy played in for Case's team, because he was always kind of very very on again off again with the club, where
mhm,
freshman and sophomore year he was on the esports team, and because of how demanding their practice schedule and everything was, he didn't end up playing for the club team. And so he came back for at least his senior year, maybe his junior year as well. And he was playing with our B for that tournament. And
mhm.
and because that was who we beat in the game before playing Pitt, they had to ref that game. And that ended up just being the most tense game of the day. I mean, I remember there was a ball where you set me a D ball out in the back row, and I just Picasso painted the sideline, and their whole team ran up to him and they were like, "No, it's out, it's out, it's out!" And he's like,
I
"No,
remember.
that ball was in," and he fought their entire team on that call. And you know what?
Shout out
I will
Zach.
go to my grave with loyalty to Zach Baldridge because he called that swing in. And honestly, that single handedly was what defined. I think that was in the third set too. But that
Hmm.
play was what defined the third, 1,000%, because they didn't get back up from it. I feel like they kind of decided to mope about the call a little bit, and before you knew it, like, Leo had his nice little hybrid serve going, and
Dude,
hit him in the chest 3 or 4 times in a row.
I remember. See, my favorite thing about that tournament was obviously we played our pool play game or pool play games, and we just didn't look like a team. And we just obviously like we had like Xander wasn't having the best connection with Justin, and then the passing was just mid, and it just like didn't look comfortable. And then we had that like hour lunch break, and Xander looks at me and goes, "Can you set me?" And I said, "Sure," because Xander just wanted to jump. He was pissed that he wasn't playing good. I sent him one ball, and both Leo and Justin looked at me and said, "Are you a setter?" And I go, "I've been setting for the past few months, but I'm more like I've played libero longer, but and such." And they're like, "Run a few plays with us real quick." And I was setting them outsides, and then was setting Xander, and then I set Zach, and then you, and they were like, "Why don't we have him set?" Because the other thing was we had fucking shout out P. You had a cool personality, but you were 5'3" playing outside against college blockers. You No, I wouldn't even put myself up there to do that because I'm not gonna be effective. He also, shout out P again, showed up and the first impression was, sorry guys, I'm late. I was at the hospital getting an IV because I was hungover. Do you remember that?
He was he was getting an IV because of what?
He was hungover. He was drunk.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I did not. I did not
No.
remember that.
Yeah, he showed up and we were like, "Oh my god." So, yeah, we changed the whole thing. And getting this sent out team was fun because obviously we ran a 6-2 in the ECVA, so I couldn't set D balls, and I love setting back row. So setting you was very fun. And I thought we had a really good connection. There was a few missed ones, but it's going to happen. Me and Leo connected well, me and Justin connected well, and me and Xander had a field day. I remember setting him a slide, and it was like the best thing in the world, and everyone was like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, "Yeah, we're those guys." We're going so off track. I just realized how long we've been on this
fly with
for.
the Y. Fly with the Y,
Dude,
baby.
no, fly with Gannon on that one. What would be a G? I don't
Who
know.
on two?
No, for the Huzz. This is what we actually did it for.
For the Huzz on
the
three.
Um,
Shout out the Huzz.
Shout out
They
the
really got
Huzz.
us through that. They really got us through that one.
Shout out the Huzz that were watching on the window above. And we don't know who they were, but they were just watching. Some random ass people.
I remember our women's team walked in for the finals match that they all thought was going to be between us and Pitt, sorry, our A team and Pitt.
I didn't know they were there. If I knew, I would have probably played a lot better.
But,
honestly,
well,
I didn't even play bad. It was just like, you good? And
yeah.
Hayden's frozen.
Did I freeze?
You good? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you froze.
Did I freeze?
It was really.
Oh,
awkward.
okay. I know.
Yeah.
Look, I saw like the reconnecting screen. Okay, we're good now though. That's good. That's good.
You're good. We're keeping that in because I don't know how to edit film. But yeah, so I didn't know they were there. I didn't even play bad. You didn't play bad. It was just like both Leo and Justin made it clear that they were out of gas, and then
Oh yeah.
I should have fed Xander a little more, and then P decided, and then when P was a libero, P could not pass, so we just fell apart. We came close. Remember, we kept it within like a 4 or 5 point game the whole time, which if we had seed banks, we're going home with the dub.
Well, I mean, we were up 15-10 or 15-11 and had them call a timeout in that set. Yeah, I mean, realistically, it was fatigue. Like our guys got tired. They're like our guys, probably hadn't been in a situation like that where they were used to playing at that high of a volume, high of a level of intensity in men's sixes all day. A lot of their guys did because that's what they do. And honestly, like they kind of cakewalked through every team they played too. I mean, really, like Pitt was good, but the drop off between the top 3 teams in that tournament and the bottom 3 teams in that tournament was huge, really big.
Yeah.
And they also had 9 or 10 guys. I mean, they had a rotation they could roll through where, oh, this guy's not playing well or this guy's tired or whatever, bench him, throw somebody else in there.
We did not have that.
But yeah, I mean, needless to say, that was all a huge distraction because I brought up the Pitt Panthers women's volleyball team, which we were talking about in the in the news media coverage, where my belief was that Kentucky is undercovered when compared to the other 3 1 seeds in this tournament, and I was saying I feel like Pitt gets the same level of coverage as the other 2 programs because of Olivia Babcock, and
100%.
And I understand. I know what the opinions of some of the guys in the Saltline group are about Babcock, but she is phenomenal.
Okay,
and she
is really good. I made a bad comment. She is a phenomenal player. I just hate their coach and their system. That's all. That's actually what I don't like. I understand feeding your best player, but like, even when they had like Rachel Fairbanks as their setter, who was a phenomenal setter, and they had better outsides than they do now, they still fed Babcock like 70 sets a game. And I just don't think that's like... And then when Babcock, like, it happened against Louisville, it happened against when Nebraska played them early in the season. You feed one player, she's eventually going to fall off. and she did. And I think, and yeah, and I'll explain more like later when we talk about the final four.
Yeah,
If
but
you have anything else.
no, I mean, I think like the I will say though the historical performance of Babcock over the past couple of seasons, and the fact that she has another year left is insane
Oh
too.
yeah,
Um,
and they're
like
probably gonna
you
get.
just
Sorry, what was that?
no, were you gonna say you think she'll be National Player of the Year again?
If they win this game, yes. But what I was gonna say is, um, they're probably gonna get Izzy Stark. That's my guess.
Hmm.
And with
Yeah.
the best setter in the country going there, they will, because they're freshmen. Their setters are freshmen, and she does freshman things sometimes, and it shows. But that's fine. It happens. Especially when you're playing for a team like Pitt that has that reputation. Like, it's gonna happen. I think
Hmm.
she's done well all season for like having that. But like, yeah, Izzy Stark will be
Yeah.
a threat.
Well, I mean, we can talk about the portal a little bit later too, because I mean, I'm sure there will be some other names of interest there.
I think it
But yeah, I
closes
think that
soon.
when you get the two biggest programs and the faces of women's college volleyball, and then on the other side you have a player that is on a run statistically that we haven't seen in a really really long time, like you kind of get Kentucky who gets left a little bit. And I'm not going to say that the media does a poor job covering, but this is a sentiment that I feel like gets echoed from the team as well. I mean, you're at a university where volleyball on a good day is your third or fourth most popular sport. I mean, our basketball team is the thing that we live by. We're still a school where we're far enough south that I would say even in a down year, football probably gets more attention than volleyball does. Our
Hmm.
baseball team's been really good as of late. Our women's basketball team has a good program. We've had a new coach come in and he had a really good first year in the program. We were a top 25 team, made the NCAA tournament last year. Like UK is a school that devotes a lot to to its athletic programs, and when you see a team like our volleyball team doing as well as we are, you could easily make the argument that they feel like they're underlooked or overlooked or underrepresented because of how many other sports are high profile teams on that campus. Um,
Hmm.
but um, it's just going to be very interesting to see how that um, how that chip on our shoulder kind of affects the team going in, because at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people still believed that the two best teams in the country going into the tournament were Kentucky and Nebraska.
Hmm.
And, obviously now with Nebraska out, I think that you ask the average person who they would see the favorite as, they'd probably tell you UK.
Hmm.
So, um,
I'll say.
will be a very interesting few games moving forward to kind of see. I mean, obviously there's a tough road ahead for any team at this point.
Hmm.
With UK having to go through Wisconsin, and Mimi Collier, who's playing absolutely out of her mind right now.
Hmm.
I'm not sure you can say that anybody is is playing better in women's college volleyball right now than her. Um, and then obviously you'd have to beat a very good Texas A&M team for the second time this season, or play against a Pitt team that, quite frankly, manhandled them early in the season. And that's the only team that you can say that about with this Kentucky team,
Hmm.
because obviously that Nebraska game, as early in the season as it was, also you could argue a game of the year contender.
Yeah. Um. And getting into, I guess, like my thoughts between these last four before I like go on my Nebraska rant real quick. I think my actually I could segue pretty well. I think my two contenders are going to be Kentucky and Texas A&M. There is a coach on TikTok that he explained his thoughts after the Nebraska game. And I'll give my general thoughts and then I'll like loop my thoughts with his thoughts because it just makes sense. we came out of the gate guns blazing. It was 10-3 in the first set. Everyone looked focused. Everyone looked locked in. Then they went on a service run of 10 points to our 0. And our passing wasn't great. Serve receive was not going well. And we were just making error after error. Then we switched, got a side out, and then it was pretty even, and then they ran away within the first. Then I think that put everybody on their heels of Nebraska can very much now lose this game. And I think the players started to think that too, because there was a lot of, like, timidness. Like, obviously, Bergen Riley has the flu and was playing through it because, and this also is, like, super unfortunate that Campbell broke her pinky and Allie, our backup opposite, broke her ankle, or, like, fucked her ankle up. 5 minutes left in the warm-up. That's so unfortunate. Because we honestly probably could have swapped Allie in for Virginia. But it came down to... Honestly, it just came down to the errors and, like, playing timid. We obviously rallied back in the third and won. And then the fourth set, which honestly could go down as the best set of volleyball all year. It was like 39-37 or something like that.
37-35, yeah, I believe.
It was so close to 40 points. And it was heart racing. I was doing little laps in this room because I was so scared. And the big thing was just also, and again, I say all this as not a college athlete. I'm nowhere near their level, and they have a ton of respect from me. Andy Jackson played her worst game all year. In maybe her entire career. It was weird looking at that game compared to any other game this season. I remember when we were playing Kansas and we demolished them. Andy was hitting phenomenal. And I remember texting Sammy a really funny joke about it that I won't repeat on a podcast. And it was just weird. She ran a slide 3 times in a row and hit the ball out every single time. And then she was tipping a lot and she was doing rolls. I don't know if it was Bergen's setting. Because, again, Bergen was playing with the flu. I thought she played pretty damn well. But, again, we don't know. Lainey, credit her after the third set. Because I think Lainey played way better in the third, fourth, and fifth. I thought they were going to swap liberos because she was getting targeted in serve receive and it was not looking good. It was like Texas final all over again.
Yeah.
But our serving also was just not aggressive. We were basically popping short free balls and they were killing us. But my big thing, and this is what I honestly also do truly think won Texas A&M in this game, was this coach made a really good point. Your best player cannot be your setter, your libero, or your middle. It needs to be your outsides. Your outsides have to be your best player. And I really never thought about that because it's always been tossed up in the air like, well, who are the best players, right? But it's not who should be the best players. And I think that was a prime example of why we lost. Both Texas A&M's pins destroyed us. Killed us. It was bad. It was horrible. They were blocking our pins better. They were swinging against our block better. And then the lefty, oh my God, what's her name?
It's Logan Lednicki?
Lednicki, yeah. The outside starts with an S. She had a phenomenal performance. And again, it came down to they were just playing better on the pins. And it was just a whole different level. And the coach that I follow was really emphasizing that and gave his points, and I looked back at it and I was like, that makes sense. Which also, I also now sit down and realize it's not obviously Kentucky's reason they're winning a lot and they're contenders, but they also have two of the best outsides in the country, if not the two best outsides. And that is just, it's linking a lot better. You look at, like, Nebraska had Harper Murray, who is a really good outside, and then Taylor Landfair. When Landfair did not look comfortable either that game, which was really weird. She was, like, rolling a lot and tipping a lot, not really swinging. I don't know if she was sick too. I don't know. But obviously they're not a great outside duo compared to Texas A&M's and Kentucky's. And, like, you look at Pitt. Pitt has Babcock, but their outsides are not their best players. And then you see them struggle a lot with that. And then same with Texas. I mean, they had Stafford, but the other one didn't really do good. And Stafford didn't even do that good against Wisconsin. So it's like, I think that's a big thing, and I think that's why Texas A&M and Kentucky have the advantage over anyone else, because their outsides are just dominant.
Yeah, so my thoughts, first off on the Nebraska A&M game, and also, I mean, I kind of will blend this into in general. I do think that's a very interesting take. I think that it's one that, like, can kind of make sense, but also at the end of the day, like, I do think that you need to have all the pieces fitting together in order for something to really click, to do well. Because here's what I will say, right? As someone who has primarily followed Kentucky most all season, obviously they do have two of the best outsides in the country. I mean, Eva Hudson has had a phenomenal season. She's a National Player of the Year finalist. Very, good chance she wins that award, especially if Kentucky continues to advance, into the national championship game. But I mean, she just has so much court when she hits the ball. She has so many different shots, so many different swings. Connects really well with Cassie. Like, she's fantastic, and Brooklyn has been fantastic for the entirety of her career at UK. Here is what I will say, though. And I don't say this to be pessimistic at all. Like, sometimes I am a pessimist, and sometimes I will say things that I clearly do not believe and that don't really make any logical sense, but are kind of overreactions that I'm feeling in the moment when I'm rooting for a team. I was really bad about this with UK basketball when I was younger, which is a tough team to be pessimistic about because they would lose so many games early in the season, even in years where they would put it together and do well in the tournament, or they would have just stupid, boneheaded performances in the NCAA tournament that nobody could really explain why they had a team that did something like that. But even when we went up 2-0 on Nebraska in that first serve or whatever that event was, where we played them, when I saw that the momentum kind of started to shift in their favor in the third set, like, I knew from probably midway through the third set that Nebraska was going to reverse sweep us that game. And that's not me trying to say I have no faith in my team, I have no faith in my players. That was me observing, as someone who is relatively familiar with the game, from, where I was watching, that we won the first two sets because of our outside hitters. Like, Eva and Brooklyn both absolutely went off and were just torching Nebraska in every way. The block, the defense, like, they had no answer for either of the two of them. But this was really before, I mean, this was when Sarafa was still playing. So Cassie O'Brien actually wasn't even our setter at the time. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that change happened either during or after the Pitt game. I think that was when we made the switch from Sarafa to O'Brien. But in that particular game, Thigpen and Sarafa were not connecting very well. We didn't really have an answer out of the middle. I believe that Bultema was starting at that point. I think it was Bultema and Lizzie Carr. They weren't really performing out of the middle. And I looked at that game and I said, Nebraska is going to win because we are one-dimensional offensively. We fed Brooklyn and Eva every single ball. And, like, yes, it worked, and yes, they got their kills, but the difference between us and Nebraska that game was that Nebraska, like, Harper Murray started to really turn it up later in that game. Andy
Mm-hmm.
Jackson was playing phenomenal. Rebecca Alec was playing phenomenal.
Ooh.
I think Adriana was on the right. She was hitting really, really well. Like Nebraska had such a balanced attack, and we were so outside heavy that they began to kind of cheat that middle into the outside and really set up that double block and really start to shut down and defend and predict our outside hitters a little bit more. And
Mm-hmm.
so while yes, that um, I do kind of agree that having good outsides is really, really important and it helps your out of system play so much. Like there are situations where good outsides, when not complemented with the rest of the offense, can absolutely be your downfall. It was funny
Right.
because coincidentally at the Creighton game, I was there and was sitting directly behind what I have to assume is a lot of Eva Hudson's extended family.
Mm-hmm.
They were all wearing like shirts with her name and number on the back of it. Some of them were signed by her. And they were also all really tall because mom and I actually had to switch seats since she couldn't even see over the guy in front of her who was probably like 6'5", 6'6". He was really, really tall. But it was funny because, throughout the course of the game, we were really outside heavy at the start of the first set. And we really started to pull away, and especially in sets 2 and 3, just opened up huge leads at the start and kind of made it not even close from the beginning. But
Mm-hmm.
they were with us until probably 12-12, 15-15, something like that. And then we kind of had our signature, we're going to wear you down and make a run moment. But in that, like, Cassie was going very heavy to the outsides. And I kept telling mom sitting next to me over and over again, I was like, she has to distribute the ball more. Like, feed your middles, feed your right side, feed the middle back. The pipe attack was working really, really well for us that game. And like that distribution is so important because, there were 2 or 3 balls in a row where Eva got blocked a couple times in the first set. Brooklyn got blocked a couple times in the first set because when you only have your left front open,
Mm-hmm.
it's predictable. Should I have said not to set Eva in front of Eva Hudson's family? Probably
Yeah,
not.
you ruined your chances.
Eva, if you ever listen to this podcast, I'm sorry. I think you're a fantastic player, but
You're cooked.
you know, but distribution is so important. And I feel like sometimes when you get a team that is so outside centric, or when you get a team that's right side centric, like Pitt with Olivia Babcock, it can absolutely be your downfall when other hitters don't step up and perform.
I agree. And like my take earlier was not meant to be like feed your outsides only. As a setter, I like to run a balanced offense, especially kind of a lie. I like to force my middles because I think if you don't have a middle game established, you are going to lose eventually in volleyball. You are never going to be a good team without a middle connection because, and it's like why I think me and Xander work so well because he's a ridiculous, crazy athlete who can pull off these crazy, amazing runs with me. And you have
Stop
people.
the glaze, man. He's not even here.
I have to glaze him before Top Gun because I'm setting at Top Gun now. Because Sammy has to work and so we just decided we're gonna have me set, which is fine. But yeah, I have to glaze them, so we pop off. But anyway, those like teams like Pitt, where they are one system heavy, they will fall apart because they just and it's weird that like they don't like I don't understand the middle connections with those teams because it's there. It's there. It has to be. I've seen it. Just do it more. But again, you know, Dan Fisher and Babcock just center only, and I'm like, whatever. But yeah, I do just want to point out, Becca was my favorite player that game, and also probably throughout the whole year. I didn't mention her name, but she played phenomenal. Was definitely like the heart and fuel of all of Nebraska right then and there. Harper also played pretty good. She didn't play as good as I like thought she would have, especially because they did start going to her a lot more because she was on. And she kind of has like that silent badass energy type, which is fire, but also I don't think that's what they needed. I think they needed like Becca Alec. She was staring motherfuckers down. And she was talking shit. And I'm like, that's what you need right now. And it worked. She was playing well. And then team, she she got the team back in the fourth because we were down by like 6 points in the fourth, especially late in the fourth. It was like 19-13, and we came
Hmm.
back, and
Yeah.
she was a big part of it, and she took the torch and ran with it. And I am really gonna miss her, but she'll do good things. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so to kind of continue my thoughts on the the A&M Nebraska game, because I really didn't focus all that much on that game in particular. I do think, and I mean, the thing about the tournament that people do not realize, especially in American sports culture, particularly, I was a soccer player in high school, and so that kind of led me to be generally familiar with the European pro leagues and things of that nature, where obviously the winner there isn't a postseason,
yeah.
and the winner of those events is chosen by the team who performs the best over the course of the regular season. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do not think that one game, even with it being an elimination game in the NCAA tournament, really changes my opinion that much of this Nebraska team. I still
No,
think if they were
not
to
at all.
play against any of the teams in the Final Four, um, they would probably be favored over those teams. If there was a sports book taking bets on it or whatever. Um, and I don't think that my opinion of that team changes because of a singular game. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, Andy Jackson, obviously not a performance that was up to the standard that she had for most of the regular season. That does not discount the season that she had whatsoever.
No.
And the fact that she handled being taken out with such humility and still being supportive of her teammates is something that I think, we can all applaud and look up to. I mean, that's a good role model. That's a good example of what to do when a situation like that happens. She's one of the best players in the country, led the nation in hitting percentage this year, gets benched in the most important game of the season, and she completely goes through that situation with humility and with class, which is awesome for young athletes to see.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
but I do think overall, with a team like Nebraska, I still believe that against just about anybody that isn't Kentucky, I think that if Nebraska plays their best game, they win. I
Mm-hmm.
really do think that the talent gap between Nebraska and any other team, and just seeing the diversity of what you can do offensively. I mean, I look at their outsides and they're both really strong hitters. I look at their middles and they're both really strong hitters. I look at, whoever they put on the right side, still a really strong, very physical hitter. Their setter's one of the best in the country. They can rotate two girls in at libero, and both of them would be a libero for just about any other school. Like, they have so much depth and so much talent that I do think if they would have played their very best game, they still would have overpowered A&M in that situation.
Yeah.
However, they still did not play terribly, and A&M did absolutely. I mean, they stepped up to the occasion, and that was one of their best games of that they've played all season. I mean, I think that as much as we were able to handle them down in Texas when we played them earlier this year, they play like that again in the national championship game. If we see them, obviously we have to get past Wisconsin first, but that's going to be a handful to deal with. And that's definitely a team where it's like, if they keep playing like that, I'm not sure anybody's going to be able to put out that far.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Um, I think it is going to be very interesting to see how everything like pieces together, especially in the future, because they only lost Becca. Only is definitely an understatement because she is such an important aspect to that team, but they have I'm gonna butcher her name, so I'm not gonna even say it because I'm horrible at pronouncing names. The substitute middle that came in was really well, and she's a freshman, and she's been playing pretty well all
Mm-hmm.
season when they go in, so she will be a good replacement. And kind of going off of like what you said about the humility and stuff. It did, like, I was happy with how some of the non-senior veterans were taking the post game. Obviously it was high emotions. Like the many clips I've seen, like Lainey and Virginia were like in full blown tears. Becca had to run out of the game immediately because I'm assuming she was gonna go throw up because bitch was sick. um, but like in the post game conference, also wait, hold on, this segue real quick. I think post game conferences after a team loss is one of the stupidest things on the planet because they force the seniors to always do it, like because they want to see the seniors say their final goodbye or whatever. Rebecca Alec couldn't barely even speak because she was upset, and that's horrible because you have somebody like that who cares so much about like Nebraska, for example, and cares, and she's in full blown tears, and you're like, so how'd you guys like? Why do you think you lost? Fuck you, respectfully, if you want that from people. Sorry, but that's just my rant about stupid stuff. But Harper in their interview was like really mature and I think has like learned and evolved from like the past 2 years, especially after the controversial like interview where she was like, "Oh, we're gonna win the next three championships," which again, I think it's stupid that people took that the wrong way. Like you're a competitor, you want to say that, like you're one of the top freshmen in the country at the time, and also playing for a team that easily could have won 3 for 3 in the next one. Clearly, they didn't, but like they made it this far. They had last year's run, this year's run, and they're gonna probably have a similar, if not better, run next year in the postseason. Because clearly, you go 30-0 in the regular season. Of course, you're not gonna do better than that because you can't go unless you go 31-0, whatever. But yeah, so seeing that was like really cool about how she handled everything. That's all I got with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely think that that's a pretty comprehensive analysis of that game in particular. Um, I shared a few of my thoughts on the rest of the Elite Eight. Obviously, talked a little bit about the Kentucky Creighton game. Really wasn't much to talk about there. I was a little bit. I think UK obviously looked pretty good. I think that the one thing that was a little bit rough was the middle. Specifically, I know Lizzie Carr. That's a performance that she will hope to not replicate in the next couple of games. And obviously not the best performance for Ava Martin, who was really somebody that Creighton needed to just absolutely get going in order to have a shot in that game. But what about the other two Final Four or Elite Eight matches? Because those were both entertaining watches as well. We've got Wisconsin over Texas, and then we've got Pitt over Purdue.
Sorry, I have a bunch of my players like messaging me about something. April 2 through 4. Okay. Sorry. Um okay, sorry. I had players spam texting me about dates for our upcoming season and stuff.
Oh, all good.
Your question was about Texas
Oh
and
yeah, just if you had any other commentary on any of the other two Elite Eight matches that we really haven't talked about that much.
so I couldn't see Kentucky's because um I couldn't see Kentucky's and Pitt's because of the snowstorm I was going through driving home that Saturday. Um, so I didn't get to watch them. I knew Pitt was gonna probably win because I didn't think Purdue was that strong enough to stop them, and that was obviously the case. And then I kind of also had the same thought about Kentucky, but I also was kind of rooting for Creighton because I really like Creighton's setter. I think she's a dog. So I was like, in reality, I wanted UK or Creighton to win. So like, it would have been like that game didn't really matter to me. Pitt, I obviously don't like Pitt as a team. Again, I don't actually hate Babcock as my controversial hold at the beginning of the season that I have to keep
Nah,
reiterating to
dude, she's
people.
gonna hear this. She's gonna get a hold of this podcast, and she's gonna be like, that guy, and
Well,
then you're just gonna get targeted by all the
dude,
Pitt
you
faithful.
have Abby, the middle, that's a freshman that went to Crestview, which is in, Ohio, Youngstown.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like, they're gonna hate me, and I'm cooked. But
I know. That's what I'm saying, dude. Watch
it's
out. They're
whatever.
coming for you, man. They're coming for you.
Dude, they can come after this 5'7" Youngstown volleyball player. Sure.
Well, that
DMs are
probably makes
open.
it easier to come after.
I'm gonna not make a comment about what I just said. Then, so obviously it would have been cool if Purdue upset, but I was not expecting that, so I don't really have much. I didn't want Texas to win either because I don't like Texas at all. Like nobody from Texas I like. So seeing Wisconsin beat them was cool. It wasn't expected, but I knew there was a chance because of how Texas played against like Texas A&M and Kentucky. Like they were definitely a beatable team. A lot of people early on were like Texas is not like Texas and Nebraska are gonna go to the final, which is somewhat reasonable. But I could have seen them losing to Wisconsin and watching the game. One Fullbringer, the setter for Wisconsin, a dog. She did really well coming back from, I believe I can't remember what injury it was, but she came back and did really well through her past few games. And then also their libero was eating Tori Stafford up. I'm not gonna lie. So that was just that.
Yeah, yeah, and they had strong performances from both of their outsides as well. I mean, they were kind of firing on all cylinders. They definitely played at a very high level. And honestly, like I watched them play Stanford, and just watching specifically Collier's performance, like right at the end of that game, I was like, that is a team that can. And honestly, I think I predicted for them to beat Texas. Of the 4-1 seeds, I was like, Texas is definitely the team that has the toughest matchup and the biggest chance of not making it to the next round. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody, I think that there were a lot of people that saw that Texas A&M was going to be a tough opponent for Nebraska. I don't think very many people actually picked that result to happen. And for me, if I had to pick a 1 seed to not make it out of the group, it was definitely going to be Texas once I saw all the matchups at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Wisconsin definitely showed me why I had that opinion in the first place.
Yeah. Pushing a little bit of time, so I think we wrap it up, especially because we're gonna have future episodes and we'll recap the final and stuff, and then hopefully get like Xander, Juan, or Sammy on the podcast, and,
Or
like,
comment section warrior Sammy. I can't wait to hear some of his takes, man.
that's gonna be rough, but yeah.
Nah, we're just gonna need to react. I mean, you think that the Pitt faithful are gonna come for you?
No.
Just you wait till we get Sammy on the pod.
Jared made a group chat with me and him yesterday to make fun of us during the Nebraska game, and we were talking about it, and currently they're blowing up my phone, and I have read some of the opinions about like the Final Four and stuff that they were talking about right now. I will say,
Who are his teams? I wanna see these opinions.
Okay, let me give you mine real quick. I think Texas A&M will win, and I think Kentucky will win, and then I think Kentucky will go all the way. I would love to see Texas A&M also, so either those two winning is fine. I don't want to see Pitt win, and I don't want to see, Wisconsin winning is cool. Pitt is the only team I don't want to win. So if I had to rank them, Pitt, Wisconsin, Texas A&M, Kentucky. If you want to say yours real quick, and then I'll give you Sammy's.
In terms of what? Who I'm rooting for, or
who,
ranking them in terms of how good they are?
Ranking how you would want them to win. Like,
oh,
1
well,
to 4.
I mean, honestly,
won.
it'd be UK 1. It'd probably be A&M 2, just because I like to see teams come out of our conference. They have an assistant coach that's a Lexington guy, who I didn't ever really know all that well, but was like kind of saw in passing, and I'm super happy about the job that he's doing there. And then I would say I'd probably go Wisconsin 3, Pitt 4.
So we have the same one. Okay.
Yeah.
which is fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
So-
I don't hate Pitt as much as everybody else does, though.
Yeah,
I just
you're
think
not
that
me.
I don't know. I think this Wisconsin team, like, they're fun to root for.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching
To
them.
give you a sneak peek of Sammy's Final Four, and I'm leaking the group chat, so if he does actually watch this full podcast, or either of them, or somebody, and then they mention it to him, I'm sorry, but I'm really not. Sammy, Texas A&M at 1, Wisconsin at 2, Pitt at 3, and Kentucky at 4. So
he hates Eva that much.
And
That's
then-
crazy.
Jared followed up with that saying, I'll be fucking pissed if Kentucky wins. And my follow-up was, crazy, I'm fine with Kentucky winning. I like Eva in Brooklyn and their setter. And, yeah, so, but there is some other stuff that was said in here, but I won't leak it all. I'll save that for another episode. Okay?
Oh man, it's gonna be a banger of an episode. Get
It
ready.
is.
We're about to get some of the hottest heads on the volleyball scene right here,
And it is going
and
to be,
just instigate an hour and a half of straight up instigation.
I might actually take that podcast off. Like you did the one, so like you guys got it. I'll be not here. All right.
Oh, I wanted to be there. I think I called you about it that night. I was not happy. I was trapped at Razzles late night. Not the place you want to be as the night gets later.
No, you do not. All right. Good episode. We will see you all on the next one, and we are so back.